Hey, everybody, welcome back to today's episode of the Opportunity Podcast. We have Riley Stark with us, and she's our first cheer athlete that we've had. And doing my homework, there's more to cheer than just being there at a basketball and football game. Riley's
Yes.
got trophies. There's a lot more than meets the eye for probably the normal sports fan. So let's dive into it, Riley. I'm almost would bet anything that you've been like in this world your entire life.
Yes,
So
you're
give us a little bit of
correct.
your background and why cheer.
Yeah, so I actually couldn't even tell you how long I've done it. I think I was like 3 years old. I started in the little tumbling classes that you put your little kid in, and then it just went from there. My first picture that I have for my first cheer competition, I have to be like maybe 4 years old. I don't even know. I've been doing it forever, but I've done all star for years and years. So I have mostly an all star like competitive cheer background, and then obviously I did like sideline in high school, and that's led me to here. So which now
Nice.
we do both, like you said, it's two worlds, which not many people realize. I think we are at every football game on the sideline, every basketball game on the sideline, and then we're also behind the scenes competing. So no one really knows about that, but
Well, so like on the competing side, like there's different levels of like what the competitions are. Like, is it not like a heightened actual being judged and competing on your sideline kind of
so
routine?
there's like two divisions, I guess you could say, at competitions. There's like traditional, which is the traditional routine with like tumbling, stunts, jumps, all that. And then there's a newer division that they've started doing, and it's called like timeout division. And basically, you can choose to do like a sideline routine or a timeout routine. You can choose to compete that and be scored on it against other teams. So that's a newer thing. I would say, like in the past 5 years, that high schools and colleges do. IU hasn't participated in that. We stick to the traditional because that's just what we've been successful in. And it's also kind of hard to have like two different routines because you're now practicing for just like two whole
Yeah.
divisions, and it's just easier to stick with one and focus on one thing. But that's what we're good at, so that's what we stick to.
Nice. Well, I've seen you've been on a million teams, like you said, like all stars. You've done the sideline stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You've won a lot of things. Where does kind of like and you're at like a big time university too, so it's
Yeah.
like all eyes. There's a lot of eyes on you guys all the time. What is kind of like the preparation like, or what was making the jump to where you are at a big university compared to kind of where you were?
Yeah, it's actually funny. So, like coming here my freshman year, I remember like one of my first practices, you kind of have like the logistics talk, and our head coach, I guess it's kind of the talk she gives every year, but it was my first time hearing it as a freshman last year, and it was like the what you do when the court's getting stormed, or how you interact with like fans, because people, like people like you. You're the face of the university. You are like really representing something bigger than yourself, which is why I've always liked cheerleading. But like anytime you're in uniform, if I'm with my parents after a game, we go out to eat or something, and everyone in the restaurant, like you're walking through the restaurant to your table, and everyone's like, oh, and they wave, and like little girls always want to take pictures. So it's kind of like there definitely was an adjustment, like being prepared to speak and talk to strangers and how you interact with them. And it was like small things. I don't know, like just how you safely storm the court. Like that was something I thought was so funny. I remember they told us like it will probably happen in your 4 years here, especially IU basketball. Like that's a big deal. And like I remember it was just this whole conversation. Like when the court gets stormed, like don't try and fight it. You just have to you have to be the first one. It was just like this whole conversation of how to do it safely, and I just thought that was so funny. But it's definitely been really rewarding. There's a lot of opportunities and like people I've met. Obviously, we have a lot of really cool alumni. Yeah, it's really cool, especially like IU basketball games. Obviously, we're on the court, and you'll just be cheering, doing your thing, and then you look over, and it's like John Mellencamp or like Mark Cuban could just be like sitting courtside, and you just have to pretend like
You
it's
don't
what
see
you
him.
do every day. Yeah. So,
So like me and my 5-year-old daughter, we go to a lot of our San Diego State women's basketball games, and we sit like right there on the
hmm
court, and we sit right next to the cheerleaders, and it's like they love her, and she loves like doing her little interactions, and like she,
yeah,
make me do with my hands like what they're doing, kind of thing,
yeah.
and just seeing that, like she gets excited like when they come out because like it's just like
That is my favorite thing
part
is
of
the
her
little girls
experience.
in little IU cheerleader uniforms. It just like makes my day. Yeah.
Like
I'll just
and
give them
some
my
of the yeah.
palms.
And
It's so
some, yeah,
adorable.
she loves that. Like if she gets a chance to like hold a
Yeah.
palm or something, she's like, this is so cool. It's like for there, she's in a million little sports and activities, but like that's
hmm
just another thing that she kind of thrives on, like that interaction and stuff. And so
Yeah.
awesome for her when she gets to have that. Um, with being on the court and performing, in bigger settings like that, just talk a little bit about like the tumbling background that you have, and just like the performance aspect that we see you, do things on the court and field and in competition that we're like, dang, like that's impressive stuff. Like what's kind of your background in that, and how did you like know like, oh,
How does it
I'm good at
translate?
this. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I actually, well, okay. So the last question there, how did you know I'm good at this? It was funny because my first sport or like whatever activity was like tumbling, and my parents wanted to make sure they're like, let's put her in something else. So when I was like 4 or 5 years old, they put me in some little club soccer team. I did not touch the soccer ball the entire season. Did not touch it. I did cartwheels on the field, and yeah, so that was it. That's how they were like, yeah, she's good with cheer. But no, it's actually funny because at football and basketball games, there's a lot of stuff that we can't do. It's like illegal um, with like cheer rules because of the surface. So like a twisting, I don't know, you know what that is, like around a fucking spring full. We're not allowed to do that on basketball courts. So it's like an illegal surface. There's a lot of like stunting and pyramids and baskets. We're not allowed to do baskets on basketball floors. So a lot of the hard skills that we really train for, they're not really showcased at basketball and football games. That's where competition is, like where you see those more. So that's what we're doing in the behind the scene practices that nobody knows about. But I do wish that we could do like harder skills sometimes because no one else really knows this, but like games to us, it's like the easy thing. We're like, oh, it's fine. Like the hardest tumbling skill we're gonna do is like a standing tuck, and that's something so basic for everyone on the team. Like it's not hard in our eyes. Or like the hardest stunt we're gonna do is maybe like a full up, and that's something super basic. Like our hard stuff really comes out in our routines. And it was actually funny because right before we left for nationals, we did a showcase at a men's basketball game. It was halftime against Ohio State, so it was a big game. It was like a Big Ten tournament game. And we went out during halftime and we performed our routine that we were performing at nationals. And like I said, all those way harder skills were in it, and it was so cool. The crowd's reaction, like we got a standing ovation. It was just really cool and really rewarding because people actually saw like, oh, like you could definitely see, and it was just like so awesome. After I walked off the mat at halftime, like all the people that were on the floor like actually came up to me and giving me high fives. Like that was so cool. Like that was awesome. Little girls, like dads, moms, everybody was so into it. It wasn't like, it was just cool for everybody. I think it wasn't just cool for like the niche little audience of the little girls at the basketball games. I think everyone really got to see like what we're capable of doing. So that was awesome.
Yeah, and well, what's the competition environment like? Because I feel like if people saw more of that, they'd be like, "Oh, we gotta go watch this. Like, this is something that like we gotta see." But I've seen like
Yeah.
clips and like stuff on TV where it's like a loud, crazy environment at a
hmm
competition. Just like talk about the support and what kind of the culture is all about at a tournament.
I would say cheer's a small world, first off. So, and our division that IU competes in is, I would say, like the more iconic division. I would say that's a good word to describe it. We compete against like Alabama, Ole Miss, USF, like a lot of really good, well known teams, Oklahoma, a lot of people who are in the know on cheer really look forward to watching our division. And I just think it's something that like, so nationals is in Orlando, Florida every year. And as you know, cheer routines are not long. They're 2.5 minutes, and you compete once during semifinals and once during finals. So like nobody in their right mind is going to spend the money if they don't know anything about cheer. Like nobody's going to go down to Orlando, Florida and be like, hey, I'm going to go watch cheer nationals. Like my family's going to come. We have a few, I guess like fans, you could say, of the team who don't really have any girls on the team, but they still come and support. People will pay for the subscription to watch live, but it's not like we're going to draw like some crazy big crowd to come to these competitions when, you know, the routine's just so short. Like I understand that part. So, but it is on, I believe ESPN2 does, they have like an airing of it. It's not live because nationals was in January, but it's coming up. I think like next week. ESPN2 has our division. So I will definitely be tuning into that with my teammates. But
well, you know, spoiler alert, like should you tell us how it kind of went, or should we just be waiting and see when it hits ESPN?
I can go ahead and tell you because it is posted. Like it is, you know, it's like live streamed and social media, it's all over. But we did do very well. We got third. Alabama got second and USF got first. So we hit day one, we didn't hit, but we did okay. And then day two, finals, we hit and we were really happy with it. But just such a great feeling. Like that is just the best feeling in the world. And it's something that you'll always chase as a cheerleader, like from when you're this big. You chase that feeling. And definitely walking off the mat with my teammates, knowing you just hit, like the energy is, you can't recreate it. And that was really special. And especially because not everyone gets to be on mat. We have 36 girls in the team, but only 20 girls get to compete and the rest are alternates. So being chosen to be on mat and then just like really, I think, fulfilling what I was called to do by my coaches, it just was really rewarding. So.
Well, so with, you know, the success you've got, you're at a, you know, prestigious school for just about everything. How did you end up, you know, as a Hoosier? Like, were there other options? Like, was this like dream school?
This is actually a really funny story. So, like I just said, Ole Miss is also in our division, also a great school. I really wanted to go to Ole Miss. When I was a senior in high school, I was like talking to their coaches. I was going down there like so much for clinics and visits. I actually missed my senior year, because I was down there at a clinic. I spent my spring break down there, like with the team, like so dead set on Ole Miss. I loved the school. I loved the campus, the people, and I still do. It's still a great school. But it was definitely the in-state, out-of-state thing because Ole Miss is far away. That was like a 10-hour drive from my house. So, and I knew for a fact, like it was not up for question that if I was going to go to Ole Miss and cheer, I would not have been able to come home till Christmas. And I would only have like 3 days at home, which I'm really close to my family. So that's kind of hard to grasp. And then, yeah, cheer kind of fell through at Ole Miss. I ended up getting cut from the team in April. It was like early April. And IU was actually like my last choice. I had applied and been accepted to the school, but I just had this idea that I wanted to go out of state. I like really wanted to get out, and just like go, you know, thrive somewhere else. And then I ended up emailing Julie, our head coach, super late, like mid-April. And definitely everyone else who is on the team with me now started that process in like September of their senior year. And I literally emailed her in like April and I was like, hey, so I might actually like maybe consider coming here and like cheering. And she was so nice to me, so welcoming. She was like, yes. And she might have like known my name because she's been a very well-known, well-established person within cheer, especially within Indiana. I cheered for my high school and I also cheered for a pretty big all-star gym in Indiana. So she like might have known. And then, yeah, I ended up trying out on May 1st. I uncommitted from Ole Miss and committed to IU. which I don't know if you know, May 1st is like the national deadline to
Deadline.
commit to a school. So literally May 1st, I had a roommate, I had a dorm assignment, I was in Crosby Hall at Ole Miss, like the whole shebang. I was enrolled at Ole Miss and then I unenrolled and came here. So, but I love it. I think it worked out. I think it was all part of God's plan. I'm so much closer to my family, which is awesome. They've come to every single football game my parents have, which is really just goes to show how much they support me. But it all worked out.
Yeah, that is really cutting it. Literally, that is it. It's make the decision right now or forever hold your peace. Wow, crazy. Well, with kind of, you're here now. You had a little bit of adversity, even just, spending a lot of time knowing you're going to do something and then kind of having to change plans a little bit. You even mentioned
I was heartbroken a little bit. Like it kind of rocked my world for a second.
I'm sure. Yeah. So like, how do you bounce back from that? Especially like, you're like, hey, I missed my senior night. Like I was there on spring break. Like you're putting in a lot of time and sacrifice away from like, traditional fun stuff to do something and then have to like mentally overcome making a change at the last second.
Yeah. I mean, well, it was something I was definitely used to. I've missed so much in my life for cheer. I missed my junior year prom, like all of my homecomings, I'm pretty sure. A lot, like funerals, weddings. So that was like, I'm used to that. And it's always the decision I've made and it's a decision I've been okay with. But I wouldn't say like being there over my spring break and being there for my senior night was like a waste because I was still learning things and I was still meeting people and I still like, there's definitely still things I learned that I use and that I carried with me. So it wasn't just like all for nothing. It was all just one big lesson for sure. Yeah. I mean,
what was it like? So then you make the last second change. You're moderately heartbroken for a second.
Oh, not moderately. Like? I was severely heartbroken. It was rough. Yeah. I like totally, it just like rocked my world. I mean, I've had cheer my whole life and cheer isn't like there's not really off seasons in cheerleading because you have football, you have basketball, and then you compete in the spring. And then from like May to August, it's off season, but you still have practice, and you're still getting new skills. So like cheer is literally something I've had all 20 years of my life year round. And so like this, literally, I remember the exact moment I got cut and it like took my breath away. And I was just like speechless. And I was just, I didn't know what I was going to do. Like, not only was I so upset because now I wasn't going to fulfill my dream of, at the time that was cheering at Ole Miss, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I just have always had cheer and I've always had my people and like, it was just, yeah. So I probably spent a good week, like feeling sorry for myself and moping. Like, it was bad. Yeah. And then after like 1 week I was like, okay, you need to like figure out what you're doing and,
how was showing up at IU like? What was that kind of feeling like when you decide that's what you're going to do? You get onto campus, like, how did that help you kind of like dig yourself out of the devastated hole you were in?
I wouldn't say I was fully out of the hole until I made the team at IU. It was super welcoming. Like Julie's such a sweet lady, our head coach. She's a wonderful woman. Like she loves us all like her own children. She would do anything for us. And that relationship was felt immediately meeting her. And then obviously I'm from Indiana and it's Indiana University. So I knew a lot of girls, like it was a lot of familiar faces, where at Ole Miss, I didn't know anybody. Like I walked into that gym with like 300 faces. I didn't know any of them. IU was a lot more familiar faces. And I think at that point it was maybe like I had nothing to lose mentality. It's like, I'll come here. If they want me to cheer for them, great. If they don't, I will figure something else out. It's not the worst thing that will ever happen to me. So, but I'm glad it worked out because I love it.
So still kind of like, early in your athletic career here, what does the next couple years look like for you as far as like competing and just being, still in the sport and finishing
Hmm.
school? What's the plan?
So I do plan to cheer all 4 years, no question. I don't know about a fifth year right now with school and all that. I guess that'll just be a decision that comes later down the road. But I do really want to coach in my future. I just can't. I can't picture myself not involved still in some way. I am doing UCA staff, so I don't know if you know what that is. It's a company that hosts cheer camps for like high schoolers. So that would be coaching in some way. I would work for them and be like a staff on at the camps. So that would be cool. I'll definitely get like some coaching experience in there. And then my major in school right now is sports broadcasting.
Cool.
So I would theoretically be a sideline reporter after I graduate. And that is, although it's like not a large need, I guess, you can be a sideline reporter for cheerleading at those competitions that I was telling you about. So like UCA Nationals in Orlando, they do have sideline reporters that like, interview the girls after they compete. And I think that'd be really cool if I did some sideline reporting and then maybe like a seasonal job or like part-time did cheer sideline reporting.
For sure.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a need, right? Like when
Yeah.
we talk about like doing this, it's like share as many stories as possible because you can't really make a connection to things and people and the sport, in general without hearing about it first and like having it highlighted. So I think that's
Yeah.
a total need. I think you have a ton of well-rounded stuff to definitely be a part of and cheer long after you're done actually competing. But
Yeah,
what
I hope so.
is, outside of cheer, which has essentially been your whole life, and, what you're doing academically, what's Riley into like outside of that? What are you?
Oh gosh. Um well, I really like to travel. I know I feel like everyone says that. I do like truly really like to travel. I will go anywhere. Like it doesn't have to be some cool place. I will hop in the car at any given moment and drive anywhere. Um I'm really hoping to go to Greece this summer. We'll see if that happens though, because with cheer, it's hard to travel. But yeah, I really like traveling. My family is a huge part of my life. Um, I see them as much as I can. And yeah, I guess
So
that's
with
it.
okay, so travel, like totally a logical answer to give.
Hmm.
As part of like cheer and places you've gone, obviously like Orlando is probably like the staple, but
Yes, I've been
cheer
there so many
taking
times for
you
cheerleading.
anywhere like that you're like, oh, I really liked going here?
For cheer or
Cheer or just
anywhere?
in general, like
Okay.
has a competition taken you somewhere and someone who likes to travel, like, hey, I'm really glad like we went here because
Uh-huh.
something great.
I will say I really like Dallas, and I've only ever been there for cheer. I haven't been there like on vacation, but I really like Dallas. I think it's a neat city. Um, Atlanta was fun. I've been to Atlanta for competitions before. I've been so many places. Oh my goodness. Just with IU alone, we've been to Orlando, obviously. We have camp in the Wisconsin Dells. That's always a lot of fun with the team. I'm going to Minneapolis in like a few weeks for the women's basketball tournament. So that'll be fun. It's so much fun to travel with the team and just to stay in the hotel and, like just do all the girl things. There's like a huge mall in Minneapolis. I don't know if you know about that. So we'll
That's the
definitely be
Mall of
going there.
America, right? Isn't that like the
Yes.
most famous mall
Yeah,
ever?
I think it's the largest mall in the country or something like that. So I do like shopping as well. So we will probably have some fun there.
All right, so we got like the whole girl gang like traveling. What's it like
Hmm.
when you guys are going? You said like, oh, like football, basketball games. That's the easy time. So what's it like when
Yeah.
you get to go and like do those trips and like go to the conference tournament for basketball? Like, is that just like, oh, this is just so much fun traveling and
It is a lot of fun. Yeah. It can be stressful with school because we don't have like a million resources when it comes to academics. So it can be hard with that. Like sometimes it's difficult for professors to understand that we have somewhere to be and that we're part of the cheer team. That can be stressful, but we actually don't travel regular season. We don't travel away. It's just for like postseason tournaments, things like that. And IU has not been to a bowl game in a hot minute. So for football, so hopefully that'll happen. We actually just got a new coach. And I think so far everything's looking good. We have a lot of new transfers, the new coach. We'll see how that goes next fall, but hopes are up.
Yeah, well, hopefully you get an opportunity to go and do like whatever the next big stadium is and do a bowl
Hmm.
game. But hopefully basketball for you guys does well in your conference tournament. I'm assuming you do men's and women's for basketball.
The We do. The all girl team travels with the women's basketball team, and then our co ed cheer team travels with the men's postseason travel. But yeah, it's a lot,
Nice.
so we can't do it all. Got to split it up a little bit.
Well, hopefully as you guys get to that, hopefully your court storming training will kick in and
Hopefully, we lost to Purdue this year. I was so hopeful, but it was kind of ugly. So
and you'll
we'll
have an
see about next year.
opportunity to do that. But I really appreciate you kind of coming on and sharing
Yeah,
a
of
little bit about
course.
you and your story and educating us on the underground cheer world that we don't always
Yeah,
get to
there's a
see.
lot.
But I'll be excited in like the next couple weeks here to check it out on ESPN too and
Yeah.
know what I'm going to be watching and who I'm going to be watching for and I'll just be making side bets, that I know you guys are going to be top three. So, but
Awesome.
cool. I appreciate it. Good luck. I guess you don't have an off season, so I won't say next season or anything, but just good luck moving forward, and we hope to catch up with you again soon.
Yeah, thank you so much.